I am now opening MIU. Maria, question to you. Question for you. You have the... Yes. So, question to you. Which software did you use to visualize your project, an urban environment project?
Actually, we are really happy with Enscape, with the on-time visualization. In the company, we have a specific team that is our visualization team. And then when we go for more professional views, we move our Revit model to 3D Studio Max. But for BIM meetings, for convince director, clients, team, all the parties, Enscape is a really good tool.
Спасибо большое. Вопрос для...
Thank you. Next question to Christian. Did you model a 3D model for the grounds? And what were the geological parameters for the ground modeling? Do you understand the question?
Hello? Yeah. And the question is about the geotechnical and geological information.
Oh, sorry, could you repeat?
Now, do you want to know what information, what kind of parameter, geological parameter we put inside the model?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Geological parameter. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't answer to this question because I'm not a geologist. The only thing that I can say is that all that information are managing by our geological department. So that software is done in that department. So all our geologists put inside the software the right information to have the stratigraphy. So I'm very sorry not to be able to answer to this question because it is too much specific question.
Хорошо, спасибо. Вопрос.
A question to Autodesk on Revit. When are you planning to support AFC with flexible translators, transfers for imports and exports of data? We have a standard exporting tool, and also we can provide customization for developers which can develop their own expert solution which will fit your purposes. In a different conference, I showed a detailed presentation on that. If you are interested in that, I can send it to you. And we have all capacities, and we have dedicated employees who work on these solutions. We are not able to provide an ideal exporting tool for each company, but you can customize it for yourself, fitting to your purposes. I'd like to weigh in Autodesk, and you probably know about it. They are building a platform solution. Their core business and all Autodesk partners are tailoring these platforms to concrete purposes. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Is it the right approach? Yes, correct. This is a platform which can be widely used. The key code for the export solution is available at GitHub, and you can use it for your purposes. A question to Alexander. KSM group of companies, what is the format for transferring drawings for panel manufacturing? Do you also integrate builds into Revit, and are you able to produce drawings using Revit? We draw all models in Revit, in ArchiCAD. We add other elements. We integrate it into a 3D model, and later we upload it to sheets and provide it to our customers in PDF or drawings that not accepted in other forms. We of course have various types of drawings, and our plant, our facility is capable to work only with these drawings of previous types from Soviet times, and we can do that. We are successful in that. A question to Natalia. Do you use BIM for cost management within the project? You can use my mic. At the moment, understanding cost and BIM is not in use. This is the next stage, which will follow the 4D design, and we're going to implement it as we move forward. Such a possibility is there, and such a tool as Synchro is something that can help us on that, but we are not doing it at the moment. A question on Valley project to Maria. What is the role of Arup in this project?
Yes, I was the structural consultant, and actually they also really like the data-driven parametric design. That's why we collaborate together at the beginning at the schematic design for choose the best shape for the project. But we collaborate a lot with them as structural engineers and MIP also.
Спасибо большое. Вопрос для Кристиана. Расскажите о своем опыте создания моделей.
A question to Christian and your experience on tunnels. What elements are you modeling? What are challenges, advantages, and disadvantages of this kind of work? What is the software in use, and what software are you planning to use when the facility will be operated? Now, your experiences on tunnel, and what kind of software are you using? Do you have this experience, in fact? Tunnel models.
About tunnel, we modeled all tunnel using, first of all, as I told you, Civil 3D to design the tunnel, to design the alignment, so the plan and the plan profile. But then, just to have a BIM model, I mean, to have a model that could be informated, we switched to Revit right now. But the last version of Civil 3D has got many features more. So we have the possibility to put attributes to Civil 3D elements. And above all, we have Dynamo also for Civil 3D in last year. It has gone. So what I want to say about that is that our solution, our workflow, probably will change in future, because we will not have to pass through Revit anymore. Probably we will do it totally inside Civil 3D, which is the software for alignment and for plan profile. Okay.
Спасибо большое.
Thank you, and there is one more question to Peter Manin. Are you planning to integrate Autodesk products on customer servers rather than in cloud platforms? This is a painful question. Could we overcome it? We had a conference two weeks ago in Moscow on BIM 360. There are some materials on the conference available online, including videos and presentations. One of the speakers there told us about current initiatives and current actions that are reflected in cloud. Information on collaboration work can remain inside the company, and at any moment it's possible to download these data to customer service. This is not yet a commercial solution, but there are some developers, programmers that will soon develop such an app that can be used for these purposes a bit later. Now, this is on backup of the data. Working on customer service in general, as the question states, our paradigm of working in cloud is not about working on some dedicated service, because it's a cloud, it's not a dedicated server. But if you need this, if you cannot use clouds for some purpose, you will not be able to use the advantages of distributed computing and all the solutions in products. Probably this is more on private clouds, because they are clouds too. We are slowly moving to that and gradually trying to work with data centers. Probably we will have our data center, a data hub in Russia. Since the beginning of this year, there are new users and a lot more users using docs and other softwares, and we will soon have to think about our own data center. And one more comment from myself, just two pieces of news, hot news for all of you. First of all, we have a dynamo for civil, and you will soon know about it more, how it can be used. And secondly, we have extended Revit possibilities and working with reinforced concrete. And thirdly, one of the speakers mentioned in the second session today that Revit does not work for electrical connections in Russia. In late spring, we will have templates available, updating older templates and adding new templates on electrical connections and on metal. And I think at the end of May, we will have this new functionality added to Revit. Family scripts, single line schemes and other functionalities will be added. Most of the issues will be addressed through Revit using these templates that can be an add-in or can be inside the box. So please expect new versions, new updates. Before turning next question to Alexander, we have another question on the previous session, because we didn't have enough time to reply to this question. It's more like an opinion on expertise. It's said that there can be some funding or financing that is provided in this regard, which is not spent correctly and which will not be efficient. Or probably I will ask Karina to comment on that as a representative of an expertise agency, expertise institution. Thank you for this question. There is no funding or subsidizing in St. Petersburg in our work. The initiative is driven by our CEO, Igor Gennadievich. Our work is based on our own costs. We bear these costs, we pay money for that. A question to Alexander Galafeev. In your team, do you have a BIM cost sheet specialist? And do you use the information model for drawing up cost sheets? And if you do, how you do it? If you don't do, why you don't do it? In my report, I mentioned that this is our next step on our agenda. We want to use the BIM POS specialist in 2019, and we are moving in this direction at the moment. The progress is not impressive, but I think next year we will be able to do this. Our cost sheet specialist is use a classical approach. A question to Natalia. An example of a design company, a design institution transforming to a engineering company. A question to you, how did you record the volume of the construction site, and who was responsible for putting colors of completion? This was done by our colleagues from the general contractor company. Architects, designers in our company didn't do that, so we hand over our model in Navisworks and both in Revit, and this is done by the general contractor himself. Thank you. Maria, a question to you. Your projects, are they in line with the concept of the passive home, what kind of softwares do you use to measure the energy efficiency of your buildings and structures?
Yeah, this is a good question because actually we have been talking about NOR standards. Depends really of the country that we have to deal with different regulations, different standards for sustainability. We have assessors, we have in our office like BREEAM certificate, colleagues, but for example for the Dutch regulation we have a software that we can implement in Revit and we can use it as a plugin. But if we work in China, we have to deal with a different one. So this is also something that we are missing. We are a global architecture. If we work in different countries, we also have to rename our families, to redo the protocol. So we are still looking for this standardization.
Спасибо большое. Вопрос дальше.
Question to Christian. How many people were involved in developing projects that you were highlighting in your presentation? How many people were involved?
Well, good question. I presented a lot of projects. Any projects, of course, had different teams. For example, in the big one, in the hydroelectric project, we had almost 10 people. Each of them had different specialty. Was specialized in a different in a different use of beam. For example, in the other project in Santiago, Chile, we started from 2 people. And we finished the project in 12. So this is a very difficult question to answer because it depends on the project, it depends on how many money it has got the project, and above all, it depends on the requirements of the project, the stage of the project. So it is a difficult question. But in any case, the average is about, I can say 7, 8 people.
Отлично, 7, 8, отлично. Так.
Question to Autodesk. When are you planning to provide a Russian version of Autodesk docs? It's on our agenda, it's on our roadmap. Date or year, I cannot say for sure, but recently, for the current year, the roadmap is there. Docs is one of the most popular titles, and the product market in Russia has already accepted this product. In Moscow, leading developers are currently implementing this product. The Committee on Construction of Moscow is also interested in using this product. They are currently piloting the usage of these solutions, also for the document management system. So expect soon we will have it. So the interest is from a public agency. Yes, the interest is on part from a public agency. In St. Petersburg, probably there is some lack of information. The news does not reach us here, but they are thinking of such an option there in Moscow and working with their contractors for socially oriented projects. A question to build on that: what about sanctions? Do they influence this work? I would like to disclose a lot of facts here. We have about 2-3 years to go until all these aspects be regulated, so I think we will wait for 2 more years. This is a sustainable approach to be able to be based on the current situation, not to predict future. A question to Alexander Galafeyev. Housing construction, what is the volume? Every year it's about 40,000 square meters of housing that we commission. Adjacent projects, adjacent project specialists, we have 2 people in each of the divisions, because there should be some replacement. Designers, for designers we have 5 designers and 2 architects at the moment, and we are planning to hire the 3rd architect. And then for the rest of the team, for this type of the team, we have 2 people. A question to Natalia. What is the economic benefit for the general contractor? What is the economic benefit for the general contractor after they get your BIM model? Is there an economic benefit? What general contractors think about it? This is a good question to ask a representative of a general contractor company, and especially not the BIM department who I work with, rather than the management, their leadership. It's a question for a different level. Probably they will tell us sometimes after they make their own calculations, but they probably will not disclose it to us. We also have media in the hall, and there is a question from the Rubes journal to Alexander. Did the transfer to BIM solutions influence the cost of designing? You are a private company, and before that you used some contractors, so could you comment on this economic effect? We are still keeping pace with the market, and we use average market prices. Some design companies offer various offerings, and we sometimes send an RFQs to understand the market trends. We keep pace with the market, so our prices are average, and the deadlines, the timeline is the same, but we reduced it, and it's our advantages. Is your company working in the domestic market, but also for the external market? We also have external markets. We win the bidding process, and our price was 2 million lower than the lowest price offered by competitors. Now I wish you success in implementing. A question to Maria: how are you planning to operate the site? Is the operating company ready to work with the building that you develop after you commission it?
Which project?
Не написано.
They didn't mention the project in the question. The building you showed us in your slides.
Okay, I showed 2, but anyway, both we work in similar way. Normally the contractor or the co-architects, depends if we are not working in the Netherlands, it's difficult for us to follow up. We supervise the construction, but the model is handled to them. That was the question? Yeah?
Окей.
Yeah.
Так.
Question to Autodesk. Did you launch, and are you using Autodesk Dasher? And are you planning to launch this platform? Autodesk Dasher, I'd like to comment on what it is. It's a pilot project developed using Forge. And one of the examples there is from our foreign office. It operates with different sensors, controlling temperatures, air sensors, people traffic sensors. In 24/7 mode, you can track data from these sensors, and from many locations track what's happening in the field. So it's a project that is a prototype of a smart home. Smart home is more relevant for apartments. This is smart operation, so to say. The project is an open-ended project. It's still ongoing. And we talk with our customers. We ask them if there is a source code which they can customize and fit to their dedicated particular project. And we saw that there are some of the possibilities, some points that enable this customization. So you can show us your track record, your projects, and we together will be able to find some source positions. Alexander Galafeev, a question to you. How did you manage to reduce the design of school to timeline up to 3 months? So what kind of approaches did you use? We didn't develop the working documentation for the school, and it takes 4 months. There are 6 months, half a year for designing, and then the state expertise, which takes 2 months. We just don't have any other option rather than to keep within 4 months deadline, and Revit is a good solution that helps us reach this deadline. The progress ratio is quite high. And considering that we also need to develop cost sheets, it's quite simpler today, easier today to upload all and export all quantities and show them to customers, being able to answer questions, further questions on quantities from customers. I don't think we will face it. A question to Autodesk, to Vladimir Eliseev, in particular on supplier base. Who is forming the base and who is updating the base? Is it an automatic process, or is it a new dimension of purchasing department activity? I can take this question. What are the suppliers mentioned in the question? Materials or equipment, I think. These are the suppliers. Mikhail. Let's ask Mikhail whether he can provide more details on his question. Mikhail, are you with us here? Probably he can comment on the question and make it more specific. Probably some of Mikhail's colleagues can comment on that. We, of course, have some time to provide you with our roving mic so you can specify the question of your colleague. Rubesh Journal. We provide publications on the IT security. Our market is interested in BIM spaces, BIM environments, and there is a gap here in terms of security. Some of designing institutions need these IT systems and security systems, and the question here is on security solutions vendors and suppliers. We spoke about opening up a third window here. What kind of approach is used to create this base and actualize it, update it? Some of the suppliers might have new terms, some of them can leave market, so how do you do that? In his presentation, Vladimir showed you some names of suppliers, some cost sheets probably, and the tables that integrate suppliers' terms. These projects are quite customized. Of course, it depends on the customer. Customers have their own databases from in Excel, and Forge can download data from Excel. If we have a new price list from a supplier or new terms from suppliers, it is done automatically to the Forge window and to the model itself in Revit, and you don't need to do it manually or write a script for that. As for products for designers, such suppliers or equipment OEMs, we try to help them to work with the market, to provide and to market their products in the market. We don't have much time left. Not everyone heard the question. The question on two competing suppliers. If there are two competing suppliers, how do you do that? Since 2014, the box of Revit, the Revit box includes functionality on working with new suppliers, preferential suppliers. the bases created by company families, they can be customized and integrated to the solution. There are a number of aggregators in the market. We mentioned here the Beamleaf company, and there are similar companies that promote these so-called families among designers. They organize events and make them marketable to reach more users. The last question, probably to any of you who can comment. ROI, payback period in your company, did you make an assessment on that? Or is it an investment just for the future where it's hard to predict the payback period for the BIM investment, for human investments? Alexander is ready to take this question. And using the example of our company, we can tell you about our payback period. In February 2018, we set up a design division, and we became dedicated. We became a spin-off to prove that we are efficient. We are dedicated as an independent company, which is part of the parent company, and during this period we proved that we can operate as a independent, as a spin-off, as an independent structure. This is one of the examples, and Alexander showed us in his presentation that one of their successes was that they had a new team, because any implementation in a new team is deployed easier for those of you who work in AutoCAD for many years, and for those of you who wanted to implement a new technology among those people who used AutoCAD. This is more complex in my perspective, in my view. Now, what is your opinion? Payback period, ROI, investment, payback period. Christina, Maria, did you design in AutoCAD, using AutoCAD?
I was a CAD lover, and really I drew it as a piano with AutoCAD. It was really easy, that was 2D, but I was the one I'm actually the one responsible to implement within the office. Our directors, the founders are the ones also supporting. We started in 2012, 2013, because we started to collaborate with the Danish, that they were a step farther from us. And actually, our work is more efficient. And as a collaborative office, our collaboration is even bigger. So there's no way back to CAD. And well, I think we train our people. I mean, we have experts. If you see which were the statistics when we started and how we are, now we have many, many good people in BIM skills, especially in Revit.
Хорошо, спасибо.
What, sorry?
Спасибо.
Thank you. Dear colleagues, very soon we'll have a third session on an important topic which tells us about why we do that. This is the second session on construction. We will drive examples from customers, and then after the third session we will have a lottery of prizes. We will provide courses, kilonewton courses as a gift, and also gifts from our partners, Skyeng and other partners of us. And now we have a recess for 40 minutes, 35 minutes break at 4 p.m. We expect you back here in this hall. Thank you.